You know, the first time I really sat down and read Dr. King's letter from a Birmingham jail, I cried for quite a while. That letter changed the trajectory of my life. I read it every MLK day as it inspires me, along with many other profound quotes from this amazing human being. Here's one of my favorites. No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream.
I continue to draw inspiration from many of Dr. King's words and actions. Just one of the many things he did that inspires me is launch the Poor People's Campaign in 1967. He envisioned this campaign as being something between a timid supplication for justice and a riot. It was meant to be a vigorous demand for economic security for African Americans, for other minorities, for poor white Americans. He brought together a multiracial coalition of people who believed that they couldn't enter into full citizenship if they didn't have economic security. Something I continue to think about a lot, and I've continued to follow the work of Reverend William Barber of North Carolina, who has launched a reboot of the Poor People's Campaign in recent years. And we still have a lot to think about in terms of economic security and inequality in this country, as well as racial justice.
MLK's legacy is a reminder to me to have hope. He amplified voices that otherwise would have never been heard, and with commitment and heartfelt sacrifice, he changed the world for the better. On this day, as well as every other day, I hope that his legacy serves as a reminder that change does not happen in a day, but with commitment, patience, and the support of others, we can all do better.
I was thinking about the challenge of talking about Dr. King's life and work while I was running over the weekend. And what came to me the most strongly after so many years of studying his work and reading his writing is the courage that it took day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year to try to maintain a loving heart and a heart of nonviolence, even as he began to acknowledge the limits of nonviolent civil disobedience, that there might come a time when one had to use some sort of force, but that you could keep a nonviolent heart while moving forward that way with the people that you worked with. And also the piece that it's still the one thing we don't seem to try on a grander level, all of us together. Nonviolent organization working together from the grassroots up.
There are so many Dr. Kings to think about and to remember, but the Dr. King that my mind returns to most often is the one who stood up at Riverside Church in Manhattan in April 1967 to what he said break silence on the war in Vietnam. And I think of how remarkable it was on the cusp of everything that he had already done to be willing to stand up against what was then a kind of popular war and to call out the whole of his nation and to risk so much. And I think we continue to need more leaders like that, not just here, but all around the world.
To me, it really means restoration. I think growing up, I heard a lot about the whitewashed version of Dr. King, and his efforts for change really seemed watered down to me growing up. So really in recent years, taking information that I've learning about his true ideas and his radical change that he really fought for, and spreading that word,
Martin Luther King Jr. Day means really two things to me. It's always a day when I take some time to reflect and look back in gratitude for all the people that have come before me, that have fought for social justice in this country and around the world, and have carried on Dr. King's legacy. But I also always feel like it's a reinvigorating call to action for us to continue to work to fight for social justice in our world. And it does often inspire me to think about ways that we can continue this work. So I might spend some time listening to Dr. King's speeches or other activists, but it is always a time of great reflection and gratitude, and also inspiration to do more.
When I think about Dr. King, what always comes to mind is his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech. And what I love about that speech is that it shares my hope and vision, not only for this country, but for humanity. The idea that we can be a mosaic of people that come together and see each other's common humanity, and that we can respect and love and uplift one another. And it is a speech and a vision that to this day guides me, my work, and my life.
When we learn about MLK in history classes, even at Emma, we always see pictures of him in black and white, which is another example of history being rewritten in order to portray him and his work as a thing of the past. In reality, MLK and his legacy do not purely exist in the past, and the legacy he left behind is incredibly relevant for us right now.
MLK Day is a day for me to learn and reflect more about how much work MLK has actually accomplished and helped change in our world, and also how much more work we still have to do.
Dr. King and his dream for this country means a great deal to me. I'm a direct beneficiary of all of his work. I am a Black woman who's only 3 generations removed from slavery, but because of the work that went into the civil rights movement led by Dr. King and in conjunction with so many other awesome, phenomenal leaders, I'm able to be here at a school like Emma Willard in a leadership capacity. I was able to earn a doctorate degree, and I'm able to change the trajectory of my family. So while I don't credit 100% of that to Dr. King's dream, his was a major catalyst in ensuring that I would be set up for success, and I could be part of setting future generations in my family up for success as well.
I had a really amazing opportunity to travel to the American Southeast a few years ago with one of the away programs to the Civil Rights Trail, and going through that experience and being able to be in the places that Martin Luther King was in, and really being able to see the impact that he had and the ripples that he created with all of the people that were a part of the civil rights movement was so powerful. I think that we tend to focus just on Martin Luther King, and I think that's very appropriate because he's amazing and has done some wonderful and powerful things. And I also think that we need to acknowledge the greater work, collective work that has been done over decades and decades for civil rights, and Martin Luther King was such an important catalyst in all of that work. I hope that for today and all the time that we think about the civil rights movement, we're thinking about Martin Luther King and all of the other amazing people who put their heart and soul into the work and made so many sacrifices.